Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going deep on just one source, a really compelling personal account. It's called Life Unpacked, Episode 09, The Greatest Invitation.
And it's a really potent look at a father-son relationship. It gets into some big themes: identity, expectation, responsibility.
Absolutely. So our mission here is to kind of unpack the core of this story, look at the key moments, and really try to understand what this greatest invitation actually is.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it. The source introduces us to the narrator, Joseph Lavant, and he's reflecting on his relationship with his father.
Right. And the father sounds like quite a character. Older, a bit hard to pin down maybe, not a man of many words, it seems.
Yeah, elusive is the word used. But when he did speak, it sounds like it really landed. It had weight.
And the dynamic has shifted, it's not just kid to adult anymore. The son's grown up. It's different.
And the source kicks off with a specific struggle the narrator, Joseph, had early on. A really deep need, actually.
Yeah, this ache almost to hear his father explicitly call him my son. He wanted that phrase, that specific one.
Exactly. That overt sign of pride he felt was missing. And it says it really bothered him, made him wonder, was his father ashamed?
Wow. That's a heavy thing to carry around, that uncertainty.
Definitely. And this feeling, it comes to a head. There's this moment described over a meal.
Right. Joseph just puts it out there. He apparently stops eating, looks at his dad, and says straight up, I want to hear you call me your son.
Imagine that tension. And the father's reaction, according to the source, completely unruffled, just keeps chewing.
Doesn't miss a beat.
Looks up and just asks, don't you know who you are?
Which is, well, obviously not the answer Joseph was looking for.
Not at all. So he pushes back, right?
Yeah.
Says something like, yeah, but I want to hear you say it.
And the father pauses, looks him in the eye.
And just says, I'm your father.
That's it.
That's it. Then apparently wipes his mouth, sips his wine, goes back to eating like nothing happened.
Oh, man. Talk about shutting it down. Yeah. The narrator says he just sort of shook his head, even laughed a little. Knew pushing wouldn't work right then.
But that phrase, I'm your father, it stuck with him.
It really did. He couldn't shake it. He sensed there was more to it, Not just a deflection, but maybe an answer to a question he wasn't actually asking.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
That phrase, I'm your father, just echoes in his mind for months. He's trying to figure out the deeper layer.
Yeah, wrestling with it. And then the source paints this picture, him sitting with his father under this old tree on a hill, looking out at mountains, quiet, vast.
Reflective setting.
Exactly. And bam, it hits him. The aha moment.
What did he realize?
He realized that when his father said, I'm your father, he was doing the only thing he could do in that equation. He was defining his role, his identity within their bond.
Okay, so the father stated his position.
Precisely. He declared who he was in the relationship. And the missing piece, the part the son hadn't grasped, was that the circle wasn't complete. The son needed to define his own role, too.
So it wasn't about waiting for the father's words to give him his identity.
Exactly. It wasn't about seeking external validation from the father in that specific way anymore. It was about understanding the father's declaration defined one side, and he needed to define the other.
It's reciprocal.
That's the word. It flips the script from passive waiting to active declaration. The father did his part. Now it was the son's turn.
So under that tree, in that quiet moment,
he turns to his father and just says it, I'm your son.
And the father's reaction.
Just smiled.
Wow.
And Joseph describes this feeling, saying those words. It wasn't just stating a fact. It was like declaring this incredibly strong bond, making them, in a way, one. It was him claiming his place, not waiting for permission, but stepping into it.
That's powerful, defining himself within the relationship.
And the source makes it clear this wasn't just a mental shift. It changed him. From that point, he felt more sure of himself, like he really knew who he was.
And that came with a sense of commitment.
Yeah, an implicit one. He felt this desire to, live up to being his son, to embody the good stuff his father taught him, to show that his father's influence, his father's name, was truly written on him.
You can almost feel the weight of that. It's not just a title. It's a responsibility he's embracing. I am his son, therefore I will, kind of thing.
Right. Honoring the lineage through action.
But the story doesn't shy away from the difficulties either. It's honest about the struggle afterward.
Oh, absolutely. Despite that big moment, that declaration, the narrator admits later on he just got tired, frustrated.
The reality sets in.
Yeah. The weight of what he thought his father expected, this path he imagined his father wanted him to follow, it just felt too heavy, crushing almost.
He felt he was failing.
Totally. Struggling to consistently, care for others, take responsibility like he thought he should, just feeling like he wasn't doing a good job, not measuring up.
That gap between the inspiration and the daily grind, it's so relatable.
It really is. And the source describes a real low point. He actually calls his father.
To vent.
Basically, yeah, to just let it all out. All the frustration, the feeling of failure. He confesses everything, feeling weak, inadequate, believing he was nothing like his father, that he could never live up to it. He even says something like, his father could have done better than to have a son like me.
Oof. To say that to the person you feel you're letting down, that takes vulnerability or maybe desperation.
Immense vulnerability.
Yeah.
And his father's response at this moment, this is really the absolute core of the whole source.
Okay, what did he say?
Well, first, there's this deep sigh described. You can almost hear it, right?
Okay.
And then he says something that just reframes everything completely.
What was it?
He says, I expect nothing other than that you become more than you are, and that during your life you inspire others to do the same.
Wow, okay. That's not what I expected.
Right. He continues, that you demonstrate love and respect and take responsibility where you can.
So it wasn't about specific achievements or following a certain path.
Not at all. It's about continuous growth, becoming more, and impacting others positively. It's about character love, respect, responsibility. It's about the process of becoming.
That completely shifts the idea of expectation, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And then the father asks the killer question.
Which is?
Are you refusing the most important invitation that can be extended to any man or woman?
There it is. The greatest invitation.
That's it. And notice, it's framed as an invitation, not a command, not a burden he's failed to carry, an invitation to become more.
And the father doesn't express disappointment or satisfaction even.
No, he just lays out the invitation and, crucially, leaves the choice entirely with the son. Accept it, refuse it, it's up to you.
That puts the power and the responsibility right back on the son.
Exactly. And the narrator says he really wrestled with this, slept on it for several nights. It wasn't an easy thing to just absorb.
It takes time to process something that fundamental.
For sure. And then one morning he wakes up and there's this voice in his head, an inner voice.
Sing.
You can do it.
So that's the acceptance, moving from hearing the invitation to actually taking it on board internally.
Seems like it. That shift from his father's words to his own internal commitment, like, okay, I see it, and I'm going to try.
So how does this connect to what the narrator is doing now? What does it all mean for him today?
Well, the source ties his current actions, telling his stories, sharing these lessons, like in this very account we're discussing, directly to that commitment. It's him trying to do it.
So his storytelling is his way of living out the invitation.
That's how he frames it. It's his way of becoming more, trying to inspire others, contributing to something bigger, a better future, even if he won't fully see it himself.
His work is the embodiment of accepting that invitation.
Yeah, it's living the legacy, not just, thinking about it.
He does mention missing his father, right? The ease of their talks, the wisdom.
Oh, yeah. He misses the frequency, the guidance, the patience, the understanding. But there's also this sense that, his father said what needed saying.
The core message was delivered.
Right. As the narrator puts it, school is over. Now it's his turn. His responsibility to pass the lessons on. Carry the torch.
Moving from being the student to being the one who shares the knowledge.
Exactly. He absorbed it, accepted the invitation, and now he's living it by sharing it.
He admits it feels strange sometimes, though, sharing these personal things.
Yeah, he says he sometimes feels foolish putting himself out there like this, but then he pulls himself back.
Ow.
He reminds himself he wouldn't be his father's son if he didn't do this.
So it circles right back to that identity he claimed under the tree and the commitment that came with it.
It's a powerful loop, isn't it? The action reinforces the identity reinforces the commitment, which fuels the action. The father's lesson wasn't a checklist. It was about embracing this ongoing journey of growth and impact.
So this deep dive into Joseph Lavant's story, it really maps out a profound journey. Starts with needing something external.
That validation, yeah.
Moves through this powerful internal claiming of identity.
I'm your son.
Grapples with the burden of perceived expectations.
The frustration, the feeling of failure.
And finally arrives at understanding what true expectation, or rather invitation, really means. Not a weight, but a call.
A call, an invitation not to be perfect, but to keep becoming more than you are, and to lift others up while you do it, based on those core things: love, respect, taking responsibility.
And having accepted this invitation from his father, the narrator, through his story, essentially passes it on to us, to you, the listener.
Which leaves us with a pretty significant question to ponder. For you personally, what does it mean to accept an invitation like that? To become more than you are and inspire others?
And building on the source, maybe the final thought to sit with is the one the narrator leaves us with. Would you refuse it?
Can you refuse it?